From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us on your MTN Statewide News. I'm Victoria Hill in for Andrea Lutz. The checks will be in the mail soon. That's the word from the Treasury Secretary following congressional approval last night of the long-awaited second round of coronavirus economic aid. CBS's Skylar Henry has the latest from Washington.
The Trump administration says pandemic relief checks will start arriving right after Christmas.
People are going to see this money the beginning of next week. So it's very fast.
The motion to concur is agreed to.
Congress passed a nearly $900 billion COVID aid package late last night after months of fighting. $600 checks will go to individuals who make less than $75,000 a year, or couples making less than $150,000. There's also an additional $600 per child. Individuals who make more than $75,000 but less than $87,000 will receive reduced checks. For couples, the benefits completely phase out at $174,000. The White House says President Trump will sign the bill, but the massive documents must first be put on parchment paper and reviewed by administration lawyers.
I personally think it's long past due. Millions of Americans have been waiting for some type of relief for a long time.
While many people are welcoming the help, some feel it's too little, too late.
This has been so mishandled. We have no idea when it's going to end. And so these Band-Aids and these little stopgaps are not acceptable.
Lawmakers admit both sides had to make compromises. Democrats and President-elect Joe Biden say they will propose a new round of relief in January. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
The package also includes a spending bill that could settle a centuries-long treasure state dispute over tribal water rights. We'll hear more on that a little later in the show from Lane Nordland. Montana's two U.S. Senators, Steve Daines and Jon Tester, are supporting the massive COVID-19 relief package. Senator Daines said, quote, targeted COVID-19 relief for Montana small businesses, workers, families, healthcare workers and hospitals, farmers and ranchers, and billions of dollars for vaccine distribution is on its way. Glad to see a bipartisan compromise finally reached to help support Montanans impacted by the pandemic. And Senator Tester said no one got everything they wanted in this package, but it's a bipartisan compromise that provides targeted support for Montana small businesses and folks who lost their jobs through no fault of their own, and it will help get vaccines to folks in rural America quickly and effectively. Well, now it's time to check in on weather. We welcome Miller Robson, MTN's newest meteorologist.
Hello,
welcome,
everybody.
Miller. Good to have you joining us on the Noon News.
And it is good to be here, and I bring with you news of colder weather. How's that? Now, we've actually hit our high this morning, and let's take a look at those temperatures out there right now if we can. Yeah, a nice little cold blast. We do have a cold front that's trudging through the area behind that, too. The big story is we got some really strong winds. We'll show you that in just a bit. But right now we're at 42 in Billings, where we were at 49 earlier this morning, so the temperatures are falling. Livingston at 30. We got 31 in Missoula. Up at Cut Bank along the High Line, we're sitting at about 22. Havre at 29. Lewistown at about 29 as well. Now, let's take a look at here from Billings all the way to the eastern part of the state, although we do have a winter weather advisory over to the west in our higher elevations. Big story for a good portion of the area. So is gusty winds in excess of 60 to 65 miles an hour. A high or high wind advisory, rather a warning actually in place now until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. We're already starting to see those gusts, and we're going to tell you just how strong they could get with a full forecast coming up here in just a bit. Victoria.
Thank you so much, Miller. Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine is arriving at hospitals across the country today. The U.S. is the first country with 2 coronavirus vaccines, as the just approved product is being distributed along with Pfizer's. There have been more than 18 million confirmed COVID-19 cases in the United States and over 319,000 deaths. Here in Montana, 917 people have passed away while infected with COVID-19. With more vaccines available, Montana nursing home residents and staff will begin getting shots as soon as next week. More than 13,000 people in over 100 nursing homes will be given shots over the next 12 weeks. Walgreens and CVS have government contracts to administer the vaccines. Officials with CVS say their teams will make 3 visits to each long-term care facility to make sure residents and staff get the initial shot and a booster. In education news, new data from Montana's Office of Public Instruction shows many parents are opting for homeschooling in 2020. The teaching method is up almost 70% from last year. A majority of students being homeschooled appear to be grade school children. Elementary enrollment is down almost 4% across the state, while high school enrollment has increased over 2%. Private schools saw an overall decrease around 3%. Montana State University announced the first winter semester offered on campus exceeded expectations, with just under 2,000 students enrolling for courses. The COVID-19 pandemic caused some scheduling changes this year, giving students a longer winter break or the option of enrolling in classes for the first snowmester. The majority of courses offered are online, ranging from the STEM field to the arts, humanities, and social sciences. The snowmester allows for students to catch up, get ahead, or stay on top of their studies, and is another example of how the university continues to adapt.
Every time the pandemic seems to give us a challenge, we try our best to meet it, and that's been a goal the whole way through. It was the goal with fall. We had a lot of adaptations to keep our students and faculty and staff as safe as possible, and that continues on.
Becker says it's too early to tell if the snowmaster will become an option in years to come, but adds faculty and students are appreciative for the opportunity to take advantage of the extended break. The snowmaster runs from November 30th to January 8th.